Okay, y'all, we are back for another 5-ish minute interview. We have another great family member that we want to bring before you today. Can you introduce yourself and tell people who you are and what role you play on your institution?
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, wherever you're coming from. My name is Stephen Dominy. I use he, him, and his pronoun. I serve as the director for the Center for Fraternity and Sorority Enrichment at Florida International University in Miami, Florida.
Now, one thing we know about Miami is hot, but it got extra hot when you came on the scene. And we want to talk about some of those positive flames. But before we get to those positive flames, what are some of those things you were seeing on your campus as far as challenges, and why did you see a need to connect with Phired Up?
Absolutely. So when I arrived here, fraternity and sorority life was a little stagnant, almost in a decline, and the community needed something more. As I started peeling back the layers, I recognized the fact that our students didn't know how to articulate their fraternity and sorority experience. Our recruitment and intake promotional events were not going as well as we wanted them to. And then we also didn't have a true tracking system of how to better understand the interested students that wanted to join all of our councils. And so it was a no-brainer for me. Phired Up made the most sense. They could provide the hands-on learning and development that needed to happen, not only from the chapter level, but on the council level. And then having that ongoing coaching component, which was something that was also needed, because you can't just say, oh, we're going to do one training once and that's the last of it. The other piece was the technology, being able to provide the technology that was going to be sustainable for all groups. And for us, that truly did help take us to the next level, is that every council and every chapter had the ability to be bought into this idea of technology. And it has really helped revolutionize the tracking and engagement of not only our chapter members, but also of those that are interested in joining chapters.
Now, Stephen, one thing, some people may be kind of like technology. That's not everybody. So that's traditionally IFC and Panhellenic. But when you talk about inclusivity, you really embrace the idea of everybody having equitable support based on their own needs. And to that point, you've been able to see some quantitative and qualitative growth. Can you talk about some of those benchmarks you've seen?
So since I've arrived, we've seen a roughly 30% increase in fraternity and sorority life. For us, the piece that I can say quantitatively, we've seen an increase in those that are interested, but also an increase in those that are joining. So from the quantitative perspective, and also our retention is getting better because they know how to articulate better. Qualitatively, I think, again, the narrative has improved. People know how to tell their story about fraternity and sorority life, not just about why they joined, but also why they stayed. And then also what the value is of fraternity and sorority to a college student. The other piece is that some of our students weren't fully bought into this idea of technology. I look at qualitative, I also think about what other pieces were out there. And we had one individual that's her chapter was, I'm not sure about this. I don't know if this makes sense for me as an MPHC organization. And she started utilizing it. She recognized that they were able to track better. She is now all in and bought into this technology. And then now on a national level, she's serving her sorority, talking about technology and how they can revolutionize what support is there for the collegiate members.
That's a whole essence in itself. MPHC using technology, but that's a story for another day. 31%, that's amazing. When you talk about flames, you brought an extra level of heat to Miami. What's the message what you would tell for other directors in coming on board, being a part of the family?
You got to be all in. You got to understand what your community is doing. You got to understand the needs of the members. You also have to understand the needs of the council. So recognizing that it's a multifaceted focus, but at the same time, as an institution, as a director, you have to understand that investment by your office or the institution in partnership with fraternity and sororities truly is an investment in the long-term experience of a college or a university. And so by investing in your members, you're investing into a quality experience as a college student, then you're elevating it to the new heights. And so recognizing the fact that when you look at it that way, you're investing in that, your students are invested in that, you truly are all in, and then you basically create an environment that is going to be much more robust for the college environment, college experience, college student success.
There it is, y'all. Short and simple. You have to be all in. You have to be all in invested. And so, Stephen, thank you for taking the time out to do this 5-ish minute interview. And as we always say, stay fired up.